Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Alright, I was a high spirit wind Judah. Alright, and I want to give double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. And I also want to say peace and blessings, salutations to the elect. Alright, so then I'm going to go into basically using discernment, man. Alright, because pursuant to the scriptures, I believe it's in Timothy, all things are good that come from the Most High, roughly paraphrasing. Then going back to the book of Sirach, it says that all things have their use. Because some brothers, maybe they're new to the faith, you know, they might get suspect or suspicious about certain herbs or certain things created by the Most High that's been abused by people dealing with uh activities. All right, but all because a culture, a heathenistic culture, used that particular thing, that doesn't mean that particular thing by itself is wicked. Whether it's herbs, even stones. I heard a brother mention stones and whatnot, and not to talk down on any brother, because you know that's our brother's a man of the Lord, so he's gonna rebuke anything that's wicked. But even certain stones like chrysoprase and all that, Japhet, those came from the Most High, so they have their uses. But those uses can be abused on the left hand through left hand cultures. Like for an example, I use a herb called Devil's Claw. It's literally called Devil's Claw, as in the claw of the devil. But guess what? That's not the name the Most High gave it, but it grows in South Africa, and the natives give it that name because of its characteristic. And it has claws. It has wired claws surrounding the fruit, protecting the fruit, and then it looks like a claw. So the locals call it Devil's Claw. But I've had people that were too cynical and skeptical to take that because it had the name Devil's Claw. But that's not the name the Most High gave it. It's the name the locals gave it. And guess what? It had medicinal purposes, man. It had medicinal properties. But guess what? The same people that's skeptical about it, they'll go to Esau and use Esau medicine. But guess what? Guess what the active ingredient in that medicine is? It's Devil's Claw, because 3/4 of so-called medicine in the pharmaceutical industry that's used to help with arthritis has Devil's Claw in it. So, you have to just use discretion, use discernment, man. Use discernment. All things have their uses, man. Uh, some things you don't get into, like the, what do you call it, chakras and all that. We don't get into that. But every time I read about essential oils, they go into the chakras. I just use discernment. Like, okay, I'm not going to get into the chakras. I don't know anything about that, or I'm not going to get into it because it's not in the scriptures. But those essential oils, that comes from the Most High. Those oils are extracted from flowers, man. All right, it's extracted from flowers, and it's the core essence of that flower put into the bottle, man. Such as lavender essential oil. I want to say calendula essential oil. Sandalwood essential oil. But guess what? You're gonna have different cultures that abuse those essential oils. Even with certain herbs, the same herbs that we use, a shaman might use, a witch doctor might use. But is that gonna stop me from using it? No, it's not. Because guess who created those herbs? Guess who created those stones? Guess who created those oils? Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. All right. So brothers, we just have to pray for discernment, man, because we going back to our culture, man. We going back to our culture. A brother have an ailment, and he's on Google looking up the so-called alternative natural way to cure his ailment. That takes faith. That takes faith, man. That takes faith, man. And guess what? Those same herbs that you're gonna use, guess what? Witch doctors use. All right. Warlocks use. But guess what? Yahweh made those herbs, man. Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shah made those herbs, man. So I'm doing this lesson for further edification, man. Like, when you come back to our culture, you're gonna find out the properties and the healing purposes that the Most High used that other nations abuse, but it's originally for Israel, man. It's for Israel. Stones, even certain candles having natural lights. Yeah, you got people on the left hand that use candles all in their houses, but using natural light is way better on your spirit, on your pineal gland than electricity. I'm not saying walk into your house with no electricity, but electricity is basically artificial light, and it is out of balance with the light inside of your mind. But a candle, a oil lamp is in sync with the light inside of your mind. It's like on the same wave, and it increases and enhances creativity, clarity. You get better sleep when you sit next to a candle. If your light source is a candle, all right, your body heals itself better when your light source is a candle. But you know, you'll go into a witch's house and they got candles lit everywhere. But another thing, those colors on those candles have different vibrations, carry different vibrations, man. But guess what? All that goes back to your how about from your how shot, man. All right. All things have their uses. You just have to know what their use is for and use discernment, man. All right. But the most important thing is coming back to our culture and our heritage, man. Another thing that's important is doing away with Babylon, man. Fuck Babylon. Yeah, we have to use this word and not to use it, so we're not going to be out there living like monks and the Amish, but you know, to the best of our ability, we're going to use what the Most High gave us, because everything that Esau created, it has proven to be detrimental, man. But I'm not going to just prolong this lesson. I hope you brothers are edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.